Okay, in this video we're going to look at a comparison between traditional sheet music and traditional music theory versus the numbered notes method. As you can see, in traditional music they lettered the keyboard with letters, and what happened is later on in the history of music development they added these additional 5 keys in between the notes that were already there. So instead of renumbering and redoing the whole system, what they did is they just sort of augmented it by saying this note in between is either C sharp or D flat. They didn't call this C and then this D and then this E. They didn't re-letter the keyboard. They just sort of squeezed them in between. That was a good sort of a patch, but what it did is it created a very confusing system where now you have these letters in between that aren't sequential, and depending on what situation it is, they're named differently. So in one situation this note is called C sharp, but in another it's referred to as D flat, and that goes for all these other ones too. So an obvious solution to that is to just re-number the keyboard and use numbers instead of letters. Obviously, numbers are sequential. They are used for counting, and they're very good at displaying the differences between two positions. So the difference between the 1 note and the 8 note is 7 half steps apart. That tells you the interval. So later on, when you're learning music theory, it's very helpful to know how far apart certain notes are, because that relates to chord structures and harmonic functions and things like that. So this is an interesting part of numbered notes. It looks very simple at first blush because it's just playing by numbers, but in actuality it's a much more sophisticated way of understanding and utilizing intervals, because again you can see the differences between the notes just by understanding their numbers. The other thing that is a major improvement in functionality is changing the way that the staff is used. In traditional music theory, the bass clef and the treble clef are assigned notes differently. So you literally have to memorize where the notes go in this staff versus this staff. They're not the same. So again, the obvious solution is to take notes per octave and assign them to a 12-note octave range. So this number here, this 4, tells you that it's the middle octave, and this comes from MIDI format. The staff itself has positions for 12 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then when you go up to the next octave range, it's the exact same system, but it is differentiated by the octave number in front of it. So once you learn where the notes are by position, you'll know where they are no matter what octave range you're in. As you can see, the notes are written under, on, or above the line. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Same way no matter what the octave range is. Again, comparing that to traditional music theory, there's so many things that are wrong about this, it's hard to even know where to start. The notes are written differently depending on what staff it is. You're using sharps and flats, called accidentals, to augment a system that should have positions for each note, and a variety of other complications that make learning traditional music hard to do. Here you can see a quick little example of traditional music theory versus the numbered note system. Again, seeing the numbers in front of the notes tells you what note to play. Otherwise, the timing is exactly the same as traditional music theory, and that makes it easy for traditional musicians to see something that looks familiar but has the benefit of being easier to play. Okay, so that's a brief overview of the differences between traditional music theory and numbered notes. Again, the key differences are numbering the notes on a keyboard or a guitar fret or any instrument allows you to name the pitch specifically, not having multiple names for it. Also, by utilizing numbers, you're able to see the interval distances between two different notes. The final thing, and probably the most important, is the utilization of the 12-note staff. This is what really helps make written music so much easier. Okay? Hope that helps. Good luck with your music training.